And these people became converted. And I started training these preacher boys. And one morning, they woke me up early, and they said, Tuan, come out here. And I came out, and I said, what's this? And they had all these pineapples laid on the front porch. And they said, Tuan, take them in the house. It's not right for our people to steal your pineapples. Take them in the house. I said, what do you mean by this? They said, Tuan, we can't watch them anymore. We're going to the jungle for a while. And so I said, what do you mean? You know what they'd been doing? The preacher boys had taken turns watching the pineapples at night. Snakes, mosquitoes, and everything. While I was sleeping, and I didn't know it, without pay, they're guarding the pineapples because it wasn't right that their people would steal my pineapples. I couldn't believe this. God sure can take good care of his property, can't he? And he delivers them to him. I said, look, they're God's, they're not mine. And I gave each man his portion and took a portion myself. And we all thanked the Lord together. And I was amazed. I said, God, you deliver them to my front door. I don't even walk in the garden anymore. I don't even know if they're growing. If the garden needed weeded, I first thought, well, if God owns the garden, he can weed his own garden, right? And, you know, that's not the way you do it. Friends, I become the manager. I'm the steward. He owns it. I'm working for him. If the garden needs weeded, I send him in to weed it, you see. And, oh, God did marvelous. You know what happened to the thieves? They kept stealing. Well, once it went this way with the pineapples, I gave my banana trees to God too. Oh, friends, the way God can grow bananas. We had to prop up the trees. The bunches were so big, it's soft-stemmed tree, and they would fall over, and the papaya and the coconuts, and we gave the whole thing to God, and really, we were exporting fruit now. The MEF plane would come, and we'd load it up, and I'd send it to other missionaries, and they'd say, where'd you get this beautiful fruit? How is it that you got assigned to the paradise of the South Coast? You know, I mean, the Garden of Eden. What did you do to deserve this? It wasn't a paradise until I gave my fruit trees to God and everything. And they say, how do you keep your people from stealing them? And I could share with them, give your possessions to God. God takes good care of his property. And I could share with them this whole principle of yielding your rights and surrendering your rights. But friends, an amazing thing happened at this point. The thieves were still stealing them. And the preacher boys caught on. Inevitably, when somebody stole, something would happen in his house. Somebody gets sick, house would burn, his chickens would die, something would happen. God would have the pressure on him. And the preacher boy said, have you been stealing the Tuan's fruit? And they'd say, yeah. He'd say, oh, that's why. His God's on you, he's big. And they'd walk. And all these thieves started to get afraid every time it happened. You know what we found on the front porch? We found bananas and pineapples and stuff brought back overnight. The curse had gone on, the pressure was on, and they brought it back hoping that it would be lifted, you see. And now we're finding everything they ever stole from us, we found on our front porch. That's how God got it back to us, you see. And it was unreal. And friends, the pressure was on to the place where they didn't want to steal anymore. They're afraid. And they said, and you know, I didn't know what to do. I couldn't even get guys to weed the garden anymore. They didn't want to get in God's garden unless they die, you see. And now I'm going on vacation. I had to be away 3 weeks. And I said, now look, when I'm gone, take the fruit, use it. It's yours. I can't eat it. It's all, I turn it over to you. As long as I'm gone, it's all yours to take. Don't let it rot on the trees. Don't let it fall off the trees. I'd come back 3 weeks later, and the fruit was rotting under the trees, and it was rotting on the trees. I said, why didn't your people eat it? You need it so much. Tuan, you saying it is one thing, but your God, he's something else. He's big. You see? And I couldn't believe it. Now I couldn't get rid of it. Hey, let God have control of your things. You'll never lack. I was exporting it. If the planes didn't come, I'd carry it to the village. Here, eat these bananas. Some guys wouldn't even eat them till I took a bite first, and then they'd eat the rest of it. But this kind of thing, I couldn't believe it. God sure can take good care of his property. And you know, this is the way it is all the way around this circle. Notice here, the altar in the center, all these areas of our lives. You know, I learned the area of possessions and gave everything. Oh, they stole the silverware, and finally we gave that to God, and then they stole the shirts, and finally I remember one day a guy stood there with a special nose bone.